You scroll through your feed, and it's the same story again. Smiling faces, coffee cups angled just right, vacation sunsets, gym mirrors. And then there's that one person. No selfies, no profile pictures that change, maybe not even a photo at all. And you catch yourself wondering, what's their deal? Are they hiding? Are they insecure? Are they secretly judging everyone else from the sidelines? Or is that person you? Because not posting your photos online isn't just a random habit. It's rarely, I just don't feel like it. There's psychology underneath it, layers, motives people don't usually say out loud, quiet decisions made again and again, often without conscious explanation. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. So let's talk about the psychology of people who don't post their photos on social media and what it quietly says about how they move through the world, especially in a culture obsessed with being seen. Picture this: you meet someone interesting, you talk, you laugh, the vibe is good, you follow each other online later, you open their profile, and there's nothing. Maybe a landscape photo from 2016, maybe a black screen, maybe zero posts at all. Your brain immediately fills in the blanks. We're wired to do that. Silence feels suspicious in a world trained to overshare every thought and angle. But here's the first profile hiding behind that empty grid. There's the private self-protector. This is the person who doesn't hate social media. They just don't trust it. They understand instinctively or consciously that once an image is out there, it's not really theirs anymore. It can be saved, zoomed, interpreted, judged by people they didn't invite into their inner circle. For them, posting a photo feels like leaving their front door unlocked overnight. They might be warm in person, funny, expressive, fully alive, but online. They pull the curtains closed, not because they're ashamed, but because they value control over access. Psychologically, this often connects to strong boundary awareness. These are people who separate who I am from what I show. They don't confuse visibility with connection. And if you ask them why they don't post photos, they'll shrug and say something casual like, I just like my privacy. It sounds simple, almost boring, like there's nothing deeper hiding behind it. Like it's just a preference, not a principle. But what they don't say is, I don't want strangers to feel entitled to me. I don't want my face to become public property. I don't want silent opinions forming in the background. I don't want screenshots, assumptions, or interpretations from people who don't actually know me, but feel like they do. I don't want my image to travel farther than my intentions ever did. Privacy, for them, isn't secrecy. It's ownership. It's choosing when and how access is given. Maybe that resonates with you. Or maybe, as you hear it, someone's face just popped into your mind. The friend who never posts, but somehow feels solid, grounded, and hard to read. The kind of person who feels fully present in conversation, yet strangely absent online. Then there's another type, and this one surprises people: the internally validated person. This person doesn't post photos because they don't need to. They don't feel a strong pull toward external affirmation. Likes don't hit the same dopamine circuits for them. Comments don't register as proof of worth, success, or relevance. Online approval feels optional, not essential. Their sense of self comes from internal reference points, values, skills, close relationships, inner standards that don't depend on an audience watching or approving. They feel real without witnesses, complete without applause, steady even when no one is paying attention. When they look at a selfie before posting, a quiet question pops up. Why? Not in a judgmental way, not with superiority, just genuine confusion, like being offered something they never asked for and don't quite understand the appeal of. Psychologically, this often overlaps with high self-concept clarity. They know who they are without needing the mirror of the crowd to reflect it back to them. Their identity feels stable, consistent, and familiar, even when no one else is reacting to it. Ironically, people often misread them. Others assume they're insecure, antisocial, or shy, when in reality they're unusually grounded, calm, self-contained, comfortable being unseen. They don't perform themselves because they're already living themselves. And if that's you, you might have noticed something strange. The less you post, the more mysterious people think you are. Even though you're just normal, just present, just real, nothing hidden, just not displayed. Then there's a very different profile: the overthinker. This person wants to post. Sometimes they even take the photo. Maybe 10 versions, different angles, different lighting, different captions typed, erased, retyped, and deleted at 2 a.m. They adjust, crop, reconsider, and second guess. They hover over the post button, and then nothing gets posted because their mind starts racing. What will people think? Does this look fake? Is this trying too hard? Will someone screenshot this and laugh later? Will this version of me be misunderstood? This isn't vanity, it's cognitive overload. Psychologically, this links to high self-monitoring and social sensitivity. These people are deeply attuned to how they're perceived, sometimes too attuned. Their brain treats posting like stepping onto a stage under a spotlight, where every move feels permanent, recorded, and open to judgment. So they choose the safest option, silence. Not because they don't want to be seen, but because being misseen feels worse than being invisible. Being misunderstood sticks longer than being ignored. If this is you, you probably don't hate photos. You just hate the imagined audience attached to them. And that imagined audience is usually far harsher, louder, and more critical than reality ever would be. Then there's the profile people rarely talk about, the identity minimalist. This person is actively resisting the performance culture of social media. They see how platforms turn lives into brands and moments into content, and they quietly opt out. Not loudly, not rebelliously, just intentionally. They don't want to curate themselves. They don't want to package their identity into something consumable, clickable, or optimized for engagement. Posting photos feels like turning their sense of self into a product, and that clashes with how they understand authenticity. They want to exist, not advertise, to be experienced, not consumed. Psychologically, this connects to reactance, the instinct to push back when you feel pressured to behave a certain way. The more social norms say, post, share, show, the more this person feels an urge to quietly say, no. They might still scroll, they might still enjoy memes, but when it comes to self-display, they draw a clear line. Their silence becomes a statement, even if they never announce it out loud. And finally, there's the type people assume first, but often misunderstand. The selective self-viewer. This person doesn't post photos because they experience themselves differently than how cameras capture them. They may feel expressive and alive in motion, but strangely flattened in still images. What feels dynamic inside them looks frozen on screen. A photo feels inaccurate, limiting, like a poor translation of who they are. So they'd rather be known through conversation, voice notes, shared moments, places where tone, timing, and presence matter. Psychologically, this links to high experiential awareness. They live in moments, not representations of moments. A photo feels like a reduction, and they don't want to be reduced. Here's the twist. None of these people are anti-social. They're not broken or behind the times. Many are deeply observant, thoughtful, emotionally complex. They just don't externalize themselves by default. Social media teaches us that visibility equals existence, but some people quietly reject that idea. They choose presence over performance, depth over display, control over exposure. So if you're thinking, wait, that's me, you're not alone. And if you're thinking of someone who never posts but somehow feels grounded, solid, and real, now you might understand them a little better. Which type fits you? Or are you a mix? Private in some moments, overthinking in others, minimalist when it comes to how you show up? Funny how the people who don't post often have the most going on beneath the surface.